Thanks a lot, Jim. We are all very fortunate to have Jim as our zoo director. You know, when I started as superintendent in January of 2019, we were coming off a heated debate about the location of the zoo. In 2018, we had lost accreditation because of the infrastructure. And then I found shortly thereafter that the zoo director, who had been there 20 plus years, was leaving. And so how lucky are we to be able to get Jim, who a current zoo director, but had worked as a zoo director for over 18 years in Texas, but also served on the accreditation portion of the American Zoo Association. And so we had some inside track on not only how to build capital projects, which we were about to enter into, but we also had accreditation. So we're very fortunate as a community to have Jim as our director. What an honor, what a privilege to be up here sharing the same stage where the mayor and governor, LSU football coach, not as many people as LSU football coach, but all distinguished folks. I'm happy to be here. Thank you guys for having me this afternoon. I'm a fellow Rotarian as well. I've had the honor and privilege of working with several of the people in the room in various aspects, whether you've worked on a committee at BREC or whether you've given me a call about some high grass in your neighborhood. I've had an opportunity to work with all of you. Appreciate what you do for our community, not only the businesses that you operate, but the service that you provide makes it a better place for me and my family. And so just wanted to personally thank all of you. Look, I stacked the deck today. I invited as many people as I can. And we had great participation, and so I promised these guys not only would they get free lunch, but they would also hear their name called. So I'm gonna allow me to use a few of my minutes to recognize first and foremost the commissioners who are here, right? My bosses. I learned that early on. Make sure you recognize your bosses. And so we have Commissioner Trina Hall, who's the mayor's appointee. She's here. Commissioner Nathaniel Rusk, who's the school board appointees. We're in the school, and so we thank them for being here. We thank any elected officials. I see Councilwoman Adams, who helped appoint those two. Well, no, they actually appointed by different, but you appointed 6 of the 9, so we thank you for that. Thank you guys for electing Laurie Adams. We appreciate your support in that. So look, we're all connected. When I first took the job, a lot of people ask, why did I take the job? The easy answer is because I had the privilege of working with the folks who actually make BREC operate the way they operate. And so, again, we have our assistant superintendent, Reed Richard, who's with us. Reed is in charge of all of our capital projects, all of our construction, and we have a lot of it going on. Reed is in charge of the planning, designing, and the construction of that. Cheryl Michelet, who's our director of communications. Anytime you see a quote from me, it comes from Cheryl. We have Chris Marchifaver, our administrative records manager. Chris keeps all of us in line. Anitra Boykin, our chief legal officer. She's the one that said BREC cannot pay for my Rotary bill, so I pay my own. I pay my own Rotary. No, Anitra is 2 times better the attorney than I was, and she keeps us out of trouble. We also have our chief operating officer, Andrea Roberts, who's our planning. She's helped us start our internal audit division, our partnership and develop division, and our community. And whenever I have something new, I just give it to Andrea. We have Brandon Smith in charge of all of our programs, everything outside of the zoo and golf. And as you know, we have a lot of stuff outside of zoo and golf. Brandon is responsible for that. And last but not least, Dr. Ray Harold Lawson, who's in charge of all the maintenance of all of our parks. We have over $175 million worth of stuff out there. And Dr. Lawson is responsible for making sure it's all maintained, safe, and looking nice. So we thank them for their support. Also thank our support organizations. We couldn't do what we do without the BREC Foundation and the Baton Rouge Zoo Foundation. Carl Stages is the executive director. Royal Heidelberg is the chair. And we have Dee Blake, who's the new executive director, also a Rotarian, along with Carl. Blaine Grimes is on that board, and many others. So thank you guys for being here. And we'll dive right in and share what's happening at BREC. And so first and foremost, similar to your four-way test, we always like to start off with the mission of BREC. And that is simply to contribute. We talk about contributing, being a partner. We're not the only ones in the business. We're contributing to a healthier, more vibrant community. And we do that by providing exceptional parks, open spaces, and recreational experiences. We're very intentional about that word, exceptional. Excellence is one of our values. It's something that we talk about on a daily basis. Are we providing exceptional experiences? Are we providing exceptional parks? And last but not least, similar to the last of your four-way tests, is it beneficial for all concerned? This is for all of East Baton Rouge Parish. If you've been around me long enough, one of the things you'll hear me say is, you know, we don't ask people too many things when we send them their property tax bill, right? We send everybody a property tax bill. We don't ask how old you are. We don't ask your race. We don't ask your sexual orientation. And as a result of that, we're obligated to serve all. And so that is a big emphasis for us, and we're very intentional about that. This is just a little slide. We actually have some of these in the back, and you're free to grab one before you leave. It's a big map of everything that we're responsible for. You see at 6,500 acres, largest landowner in the parish. That's a good thing sometimes, but also it means we have the most neighbors in the parish as well. And so Dr. Lawson, along with the rest of his team, does a great job in making sure that all of that stuff that you see up there is well maintained. We have a lot of unique stuff as well, which helped us bring home our third gold medal. And so look, join me for a minute, if you don't mind. You don't get a chance to do this very often, but you'll just sing along with me. We're number one. We're number one. We're number one. We're number one. So I appreciate that. Again, you guys don't. And look, we're excited. Oh, another boss. I got to recognize my boss, Commissioner Donna Collins-Lewis has joined us. Thank you for being here, Commissioner. And so, as you can see, back in September of last year, we were all in Phoenix in front of 5,000 other park and rec professionals, and very excited when we were able to hear our name announced as the gold medal winner for 2022. There's a lot more information online, but you can learn about the gold medal. But it is something that we're very excited about. And look, we were finalists for 6 of 7 years. And so there certainly were opportunities where we say, hey, do we even need to continue submitting the application? You know, is the fix in on us that they're not giving us the award? But we persevered and kept submitting. And whether or not they got tired of us submitting the application or whatever the case is, we were able to bring home the gold in 2022. And since then, we've been celebrating with the community. As you see, it is a community award. You know, that's another big emphasis we talk about at BREC. It's not our parks. It's not our dollars. At the end of the day, it's the community We're stewards of their dollars, and we're trying to do the best that we can. And fortunate enough, we were recognized as being the best in the country of doing that. And so we want to celebrate that with the community. We've been on parades and done a bunch of exciting things. And the way we were able to win that award was because of you guys. Again, it always comes back to you. Remember in 2004, the Imagine Your Parks program. We brought a new tax. And so this is just the funding overview of BREC. Again, last year we celebrated 75 years. And so we started back in 1946, started operating in 1947 with just that one meal. It's interesting that the enacting legislation says we are allowed to go up to 18 meals. And so, no worries, we're not going up on that. And so one meal in 1947, and then sometime around the 60s or so, Superintendent Eugene Young must have realized that, hey, we got a lot of stuff, and we don't have enough money to take care of. So we added those two new millages, as you see, about 6.2 and 3.9. So we went from one meal to about 11 meals in the 60s. And we existed that way from the 60s all the way to 2004 when we were at, I wasn't here in Baton Rouge, but I understand, and you'll see some pictures that we were at a point of despair. We needed to make a decision. And fortunate enough, we asked the community to pass that 2004 tax, and the community did. It was additional 3.2 mills. And so that's 80% of our funding is through your tax dollars. We also get about $10 million from folks playing golf and going to the zoo and going to Liberty Lagoon, playing tennis and all those things, and about 5% grants, federal, state, local funding. Here's what that was able to provide you. The 20-year tax, it was very ambitious, voter supported, and it was based on two strategic plans, one in 2004, and then we had another plan in 2014. Public input is the key to our success. That's the secret sauce in all of this. It starts with it's your dollars. We need to talk to you about what you want to see done with your dollars. Try and deliver on that. Hopefully you renew the taxes, and we keep doing that cycle over and over. But it starts with us coming to you to hear about what do you want to do with your tax dollars. And so here's just some things that came out as a result of that. You got your 12 community parks, which we'll show you some pictures of. Liberty Lagoon Water Park, Frenchtown Conservation Area, beautiful, largest conservation area we have down Greenwell Springs and Frenchtown Road, where the A-meet meets the co-meet, beautiful place. We got splash pads, dog parks, all these new innovative items that we brought. BREC on the Go, our mobile unit, all of that is because of your support. And look at some of these pictures now. Those who are from Baton Rouge, have been here a while, can certainly appreciate the then and now of Highland Road Park. The team did a great job of showing pictures basically from the same vantage point to show you the improvements that have occurred over the last almost 20 years. Extreme Sports Park, one of our busiest parks that we have. Hundreds, thousands of kids are out there being active and ultimately safe. You know, we try and have all our spaces safe. Cunard Park is a local park off of Highway 19, sort of in the North Baton Rouge, almost to Baker area. There are some improvements we did. Again, we have 150 of these neighborhood parks, and we try and be very intentional within every 10 years of touching each park. Imagine Your Parks 2. This is the 2014 plan. It includes BREC's largest project in BREC's history, and we'll talk more about what's happening at the zoo in Greenwood shortly. Big changes, transformational projects. We were able to air condition 10 recreation centers. We have over 50 recreation centers. We have more recreation centers per capita than any other recreation department in the country. But as most of you know, or you may not know, most of those were built in the 70s and 80s. And so now we're at a point on what do we do with those. We did make a decision to air condition some of them recently because, you know, I guess as a cost-cutting measure, whenever these were built in the 70s and 80s, maybe it wasn't as hot in Louisiana in the 70s and 80s, but we didn't I don't want to talk about that because 40 years from now, somebody will be talking about what I did, so I don't want. And so we also expanded our greenways, blueways. You know, we now have connections where you can connect on the water from park to park. Safe rooms, turf fields at Oak Villa, and a lot more that we have going on. Some more then and now, North Sherwood Forest Park, one of our very most popular parks, activity out there from sun up to sundown. Jackson Community Park, we recently completed in Central, one of the 12 community parks we have. We'll talk about the 13th, that's coming up soon. Jefferson Highway Park is another neighborhood park that's very popular, and we are proud of these improvements that we were able to make at Jefferson Highway Park. And so what's next? You know, if you're doing the math, 2004, 2014, 2024. And so we are in the planning stages of the next 10 years as we speak. We just hired a consultant. We had a kickoff meeting. We've talked about what we believe some of the priorities are, safety, maintenance, those sort of things like that. But it's going to include, as in all of our strategic plans, you know, dozens, multiple meetings with the community, key stakeholders to get your input. But we'll share trends about what's happening across the country. And ultimately, we'll come before you either later this year, possibly next year, with that request to renew taxes. Oh, I didn't even read the bold, big thing down there that says no new taxes, okay? Let's, news reporter, let's make sure we get that one. No new taxes, no new taxes in the plans. And so update on parish-wide transformational projects. Look, I sit in here with you guys every Wednesday as well, and I've been here when we talked about, you know, how we're feeling about Baton Rouge, and we're pessimistic. Well, I'm very optimistic about what's happening in Baton Rouge, and I want to share with you what's going on in Baton Rouge, and hopefully I can increase your optimism about what's happening in the future. So the next time that poll comes out, we'll be a little more optimistic. Starting off first with the Greenwood Community Park and Baton Rouge Zoo. And so phase one, these are all the exciting things that are happening in phase one, which are scheduled to be completed sometime, in the first half of 2024. New giraffe exhibit, hippocampus exhibit, new houses for the bear, jaguar, elk, bison, train track relocation, and we'll go through some of this as we go through the slide, but it also includes new train station, a new entry building for the zoo. Here are some pictures of Commissioner Rossi Washington in front of the new underwater pygmy hippo exhibit. We have pygmy hippos, and just like it sounds, it's a little bitty hippo. It's not a full-born hippo. Jim, I'm saying that wrong, Jim, I'm sorry. Same family though, right, Jim? And so we have a ribbon cutting on Friday at 10 a.m. where we will open that exhibit up to the public. And I'm excited about it. We'll have people coming from New Orleans to come to our zoo to see this exhibit. So we're very excited about this first ribbon cutting. And again, it was 5 years ago, March 2018, where we had 100 people in our boardroom, and 90 of them was upset with us. And they got on the microphone and said, we want our zoo to remain here. And since that time, we've been working on making it the best zoo possible at its current location. So very excited that 5 years later, we're able to deliver some of these exciting projects to the community. New sequence entrance, one of the biggest things we heard from the community was a new entrance for the zoo, and so you'll enter both the park and Highway 19, and the zoo off of Highway 19, where you'll come to this roundabout and you'll have a decision to make whether you go to the zoo or to the park. You see this is some renovated exhibits, bear exhibit, jaguar exhibit. The picture to the right is an overview, sort of back of house, and you see their living quarters, but you also see that stormwater treatment facility there as well. One of the big things that is not as sexy as the underwater hippo exhibit, but millions of dollars were spent on improved infrastructure. You had a 50-year zoo, and with the exception of the tiger exhibit, which was done about 10 years ago, everything was pretty old. And so, and including, we had to separate stormwater and sewer water. Those things were combined previously, and now those things are separated, which means we'll be putting back cleaner water into the environment than we were before. These are some things that are under construction. J.S. Clark Golf Course, scheduled to be open, I believe, the 1st of May. This is an improved 9-hole golf course right next to Woody Dumas's golf course, which we will be repurposing. We're expanding the lake, and we're doing a lot of green infrastructure there, but we're excited to be providing the community a renovated, brand new golf course out here that they can enjoy. University Lakes Project, again, another transformational project. Not from Baton Rouge, but I understand it's been over 30 years we've been talking about dredging University Lakes, and I'm happy to announce that that work in earnest is happening. I got an email yesterday that told me they're testing noise and vibration as we speak, which means they will be out there digging very shortly. And so that will obviously provide more stormwater capacity as we make the lakes deeper, makes the water healthier, it's better for the fish, able to hold more stormwater, but we're excited about what's happening at University Lakes. One of the things we share, we started out as a plan to dredge all 6 lakes. Because of escalating costs, we're now only dredging 2 lakes. Fortunately, they're the 2 lakes that BREC is responsible for maintaining, which are City Lake and Lake Erie. So that work starts, as you see, the spring of 2023, and the dredging will be complete in the summer of next year. Urban trails, very exciting. Whenever we talk to the community, as we're about to do right now, about what do they want to see with their tax dollars. In 2004, when we did that, the number one thing was trails and connectivity. 2014, when we did that, the number one thing was trails and connectivity. And so it's a big emphasis of ours. We have a dedicated trail coordinator on our team, but we're excited about what's happening with trails, and we just want to share. Now, some of this came about because we have a bike and pedestrian master plan that was federally funded. Anybody want to know why it was federally funded? It's because we're one of the leaders in vehicular accidents with pedestrians. It's not a day, a week that goes by we don't get a alert that says a pedestrian was hit. And so when we're talking about urban trails, we're not talking about we want to provide access for all. So not only does it include for the folks who have $1,500 bike and $1,000 Nike outfit, but it also includes folks who are just trying to get safely across the street to go to the grocery store, or folks who are trying to get to the daycare or the cleaners or something like that. So when we talk about trails, it's important that we're also talking about safety and connectivity. Here's the master plan that I alluded to before, approved by the City Council, over 200 miles of off-road projects that BREC is responsible for, 200 miles of on-road projects that City Parish and DPW are responsible for. Obviously requires a lot of coordination. One of the things we joke about there is, we always talking with Fred and DPW about making sure as they're building something on road, it's connecting what we're doing off road. I say, Fred, I don't want to be like we're doing now, saying, who built I-10 that came down to 1 lane? I said, I don't want people saying that 40 years from now about decisions that we made. So we've been coordinating on this quite a bit. And so look at this map, is one of my favorite maps. It shows a connection from Southern University and the airport, which is at the top of that map in the left-hand corner there. But it shows a connection through some of our parks, right in front of Exxon and the Exxon Greenway. Again, we've worked with City Parish, and they've allowed us to convert a street that had a lot of potholes and quite frankly wasn't being used convert that street into a trail. That will be a trail now, but that will go all the way to Memorial Stadium. Because of late Commissioner Davis Rohr, who at every meeting said we need to make sure it goes from Memorial all the way downtown. We're making sure that it goes from Memorial all the way downtown. It will connect with Spanish Town Park downtown. From there, you'll get on the downtown Greenway. You know that if you're on the downtown Greenway, that'll connect you all the way to City Park. And so we'll have a connection to City Park, and then from City Park, you'll be able to connect to our Perkins Road Park, which connects to our health loop, which ultimately connects you all the way to Seagan. And so by the end of 2026, you'll be able to get on your bike and go from the airport or Southern University all the way to Seagan and maybe beyond. And here's just some information about what we're calling the downtown connector that gets you from North Baton Rouge to downtown, connects Scotlandville Parkway to downtown. It talks about that trail conversion. We also got a grant, $3.7 million. We received that grant, and it's a 5.6-mile trail. The health loop is something that we're very excited about. Obviously connects all of the hospitals, Our Lady of the Lake and Children's Hospital and all those things there, but for folks to be able to ride safely or walk safely in that area as well. Memorial Sports Safe Room, another project that we're partnered on with City Parish, where after the floods of 2016, City Parish received hazard mitigation dollars. They approached us about building these safe rooms, which will house emergency personnel at the time of disasters, but 99.9% of the time when there's not a disaster, it'll be a state-of-the-art recreation center. 75% funded with federal hazard mitigation dollars, the other 25% funded by the Office of Community Development. It's none of your property tax dollars that are going towards development of this state-of-the-art recreation center. Airline Highway Community Park, while we do have Highland Road and Forest Park in the south, because of the population growth, it was identified we needed another community park. We looked for land for quite a bit till we ultimately realized the state fairgrounds, which most people refer to as Airline Highway Park, is the location that we will have our next park. And Airline held a lot of water. We plan to use this park to show how that can be beneficial to the community. There's a safe room that's planned to be built there. I don't know if you read the Daily Report this morning, but pickleball is exploding. This will be a location where we have a lot of pickleball courts as well for all the pickleball enthusiasts. There's the safe room. Again, one on Memorial and one here at Airline. For obvious reasons, right? Evacuating folks down Airline, being able to get to New Orleans and those sort of things like that is why City Parish asked if we can locate it there. And of course we said yes. Frenchtown Road Conservation Area. This Saturday, you're welcome to go out there as our team is hosting a Saturday walk in nature type deal where you learn as much as possible. This is where the A meet meets the co-meet, our biggest conservation area, beautiful piece of land that we were able to acquire as part of the last Imagine Your Parks program. We bought a little house that was out there in 2015, and in 2016, that house was flooded, and we went back and built this to be our nature center, which is going to be out at Frenchtown Road as well, where we'll have staff there as well. And, you know, we talk about Frenchtown, but could not leave you guys without talking about, you know, what your parks provide, not in addition to the great recreational things that we just showed, but how they impact flood risk reduction. And look, none of us will be the same after 2016. 60 deaths, over $10 billion in property damages, 146 damaged homes, you know, several employees at BREC, I think over 200 employees at BREC were impacted in terms of storm damage. My wife still doesn't let me live it down that I decided to leave town that weekend because, again, I didn't know it was going to Nobody knew that was going to happen, but she holds that over me. So I'll never forget the flood of 2016 as well. But, you know, those numbers would be a lot higher but for your Parks and Recreation agency. Our parks held over 9.95 billion gallons of water. And because I've never seen 9.95 billion gallons of water, I asked CSRS, who helped develop this and did the model of the storm, what does that mean in layman terms? And that's enough to fill the lower bowl of LSU 71 times. A lot of water. And again, but for our parks, that water is in homes and businesses throughout our community. Green infrastructure, a big emphasis of ours, basically taking advantage of the natural infrastructure that's already in place. We do this in every park that we have, without exception. Our goal is to hold more water than we held in 2016. Some examples of green infrastructure: we have a no-mow zone at Howell Park. You see the Dawson Creek connection. Great infrastructure. We're trying to get away from that as much as possible. 100% paved parking lots and those sort of things like that. We're retrofitting from gray to green. And look, we talked about a lot of projects and stuff like that, but we'll be remiss if we don't talk about the programs that we offer, the exceptional experiences we provided. We did a lot about the exceptional parks on the first 50 slides, but these last 2 slides, we want to, summer camp is open. I think we have almost 4,000 people registered already. We have a little over 7,500 slots, 8-week program, and whatever the mind can imagine, we have a camp for. So I encourage you to log on to find out information about that. This is some information that we have in regarding to this month at BREC. You can get this emailed to you just by logging on to we'll make it real easy for you if you just want to use that. You can log on and get a newsletter whenever you want, but we have thousands of programs. In fact, this Saturday we have Zippity Zoo Fest, we have Comey Bike Race. I mean, we have an Easter egg hunt at Independence. There are a lot of things going on. We encourage you to follow us on our social media to find out everything that your park system is doing. And hopefully, after this, you guys feel a little more positive about what's happening in Baton Rouge. I know I am. And again, thank you for having me. I think if I time that right, we have about 3 minutes for questions.
Question about the Bayou Fountain launch. Y'all had it closed, mowing down a lot of trees, cleaning up. What's kind of the plan to get that completed so we can go kayaking and
Yeah, so part of what you see at Highland Road, where we have our first kayak launch on the backside of Highland there, you do see a lot of trees, and it wasn't us. Let's just say that. It was part of the cleaning and part of the clearing of sticks and snags, and part of that Army Corps work that was happening with a lot of our waterways. And so, somebody called us and said, "Hey, there's a bunch of trees gone." We're like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa!" And so it's related to that. But in terms of the timing of reopening that, I'm not exactly sure. It's going to be contingent on that work. October, I just heard October. But we also have a new kayak launch at Manchac Park, which we will be opening soon as well. We have intentions on building one at Airline as well. So you'll be able to go from Manchac Park to Airline Park to Highland Road Park. So we're excited about what we're doing with the Blue Ways. One more question, make it good. I'm gonna ring the bell. One over here.
when were the other 2 years that y'all received that award?
We received our first gold medal in 1975. I was a 1-year-old toddler. And the second one was in 1991. I was in 11th grade, so it's been 30 years. So yeah, we want to continue celebrating this as much as possible. We encourage you guys to come up here and take a picture with the gold medal. Don't take it home, that's the only thing, but hopefully we win the award for best prop this year. So thank you guys, I appreciate it.